Welcome to the Brew, Season 2, Episode 4. A may have been greater discovery than fire. We left our coterie in the midst of turmoil, a question hanging over their head, a realization that they have a Jericho whose walls are nearly impenetrable, a riposte to stop the growing tension of debate and clamoring in Elysium. The question being, would they share their brew, the fact that they can manufacture a way for kindred to feed and be satiated, nearly at a whim. Whatever they decide, whether to weather the storms of political combat and intrigues, or reveal their secret to shut most of the debate down, is a matter over their heads, standing before them and stretching down the long road of their new positions as Primogen, part of the Primogen Council of Milwaukee. Why, hi there. How we doing, Mel?
Yeah, getting ready to move, so.
Indeed. How many days are they giving you? Or are you guys just going to do it and be done?
We have 3 days. He's got one of his friends coming over tomorrow to help move the big stuff.
That definitely has its benefits. I'm not sure if I would have any local able-bodied men or women to help move if push came to shove at this point in my life. I live too far away, and mostly everyone is dealing with various ailments, infirmities, and things that cost physical movement.
So yeah, that's one thing. And then I found out that one of my friends passed away yesterday.
That is not fun. How are you holding up?
I mean, I have a weird relationship with death. It's like, okay. And it's not terribly unexpected. She's been in and out of the hospital for the past several years because she had a hole in one of her heart valves. Beginning of last month, she was in surgery for 14 hours to try to repair it, and they had to resuscitate her 3 times, so not unexpected.
Okay. No,
I just have to go out and put googly eyes on things.
Okay. Whatever it takes, however it takes.
That was her way of coping with being in and out of the hospital all the time, as she would leave googly eyes on things.
That is interesting. And as long as it helps, and as it helps, I'm glad for you. I'm glad that you have something to help. I got nothing. I am a odd bird when it comes
You're fine.
to grieving and all of that. Which is funny, because part and parcel of getting back into role playing was an act in and of itself of actually grieving a friend that several of the characters, the NPCs and SPCs, are based on facets of. So it's interesting. I think so.
It's a wonderful form of therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, therapy, man. Yeah. I am trying to design a quick thumbnail for Obscura. That's not bad. It's just not absolutely 100% great. Welcome, Max. How we doing?
Doing good. Kind of.
I thought
A lot of stuff processing, but doing good.
okay, excellent. I did believe that our last DM and message that you were taking tonight off, and I'm always glad to see you.
No, not yet. Not yet. Soon though, but not yet. Let me get some working earbuds in here.
Did you get a chance to view, listen, or skim through the last episode?
That was gonna be the plan as I. Hold on. Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you.
there you are. Okay, that was going to be the plan, but you know what happens with me and plans.
No, I've never seen you follow through on the plan, so I'm not sure. What happened?
It blew up spectacularly in my face. That's generally what happens with me and plans.
Well, you know, staying consistent is important. Staying consistent is important.
Yeah, that's like a habit that I would really like to break, but you know, until it breaks, it's kind of situation normal.
This is today is true. As I was just letting Mal know, I was just running through a quick breakdown of trying to put together a thumbnail for Obscura. I haven't finished with the sound on it, but I'm trying to get the thumbnail while I have a few seconds here. So I'll work in a little bit of a recap, just where we are. We'll be picking up a few minutes after the close of last episode, and we're running from there. Hey, how we doing, Charlie?
What's up?
You know, it is a lovely start to the weekend and all of that beautiful stuff, and we have our little holiday away from the world. Did you stick around to see what was happening on the coast? I got news and did a quick scan.
I know Ian got killed.
Yeah.
Other than that, no.
Yeah. Comes for us all, I suppose.
Abraham.
No. On the coast, there was a tense moment that was being, as often is the case, worked out with fists, claw, teeth, and machismo. I didn't have the time to ST the entirety of the scene, and I was left it in, I thought, Abe's capable hands, and the result was, from everything I could tell, Ian is no longer amongst the unliving on the coast, and there's nothing to read. So I'm not sure exactly how it happened. Jimmy sent a DM with some of what the actions were, but not the story around them. So I'm waiting. I was hoping someone else may have caught, because it was clear that it was being worked out mostly in voice as well. So you know.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened. I think they did it in voice, but they were grappling and biting each other and all kinds of shit. But I left before the death happened. I just saw it in the chat that he was dead, and the die rolls and whatnot.
Yeah.
I know that Jimmy attempted to diablerize him and like had a bestial failure, I think, on the attempt, so it just killed him.
Bestial failure, which part of the Diablo? Because if he was already in the midst of drinking down his soul, that means that Ian is actually Jimmy. That Jimmy is actually Ian.
The first roll.
I see. Well, see, Max, at least your plans didn't go as astray as all that. You weren't nearly Diablerized. Or were you?
Yeah.
Or were you? Are you secretly Nalonga right now?
Yet. There's the whole yet portion that you haven't gotten to yet.
Well, I think that's a foregone conclusion. I'm not sure that it has to be a foregone conclusion, but we shall see. We shall see.
I go into every session with the idea that chances are I'm going to be Diablerized. Just saves times on the panic.
I see. Well, you know. What
You kids and your diablerie.
It beats being put in mothballs, so, it's a glory and all that.
Back in my day, we thought that was a bad thing. The whole diablerie.
I kept hearing that, but obviously all the cool kids are doing it, so can't be too bad.
Are they the cool kids, though?
They're the ones that everyone looks to, so yes, by default, they're the cool kids. Taylor, you said you're going to work in a recap just to keep everybody on the same page, because there's a lot of stuff that's been happening, and I don't remember everything.
I think I actually missed the last time we played, too.
You did. Max and Charlie were not there.
And I didn't work today, so I didn't get to sit and listen to the episode like I normally do on days that we're playing.
That's why your memory stays so fresh. Welcome. How we doing? Sound issues?
She will go ahead and fill us in. That's what she does. She'll fill us in.
Okay. That one hurt. I don't know what happened. I've had kind of a busy day, so for my daughter, it required up and down a lot of stairs, and it's raining all day. So my arthritis is acting up pretty bad. Did we need a recap of where we were? Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah, we were getting to that stage of the opening. Neither Charlie nor Max had a chance to listen to the last episode, and so we were getting ready to.
If I remember correctly, we had literally just got down to the lower level of actually no, we were past that. So what happened was we had gone to the lower level of the stadium and stayed for a little while, but then there was another kind of secret meeting where they all moved us as the Primogen a couple weeks later. It was our first official meeting as Primogen. We went to this meeting and the prince was late. They did their very much grand entrance sort of situation later in the night. But while we were waiting for the prince, we were all mingling. And there were a lot of cliques starting up. Your very best Maula tore us to shreds verbally. Most of the night. And she actually did some sort of willpower damage with the words that she was saying, because she was starting to get to us. During the course of that, we were trying to make friends, trying to shore up our defenses. We made a new friend, but just so happened to be a thin blood, and we ended up being responsible for them.
Oh, and the best part about Alex,
Yeah.
or Aaron rather.
Aaron.
Yes.
Aaron is responsible for Max now, specifically. So anything
What?
that Max
And Charlie.
if you're and Charlie, because Charlie and Max weren't there, and it was taken as an offense to the prince that they weren't there, so as to make sort of a we'll teach them to do better next time, or we're sorry for the fact that they didn't show up. Aaron specifically was kind of coaxed / tricked into taking personal responsibility for Max and Charlie. So now, if they fuck up, it falls on Aaron.
That poor bastard.
And kind
I
of
feel sorry for him.
secondarily as a coterie, but mostly Aaron, because he put his name and ass on the line for both Max and Charlie. And then, like I said, we are being accused of gathering an army because we have been shoring up our area of Milwaukee. And then the Nosferatu decided that they were going to try to make a bid for part of our domain. They didn't get it, but they're definitely fucking trying.
Right.
What else? Yeah, so like I said, there's the whole Aaron is not responsible for Charlie and Max thing. And because of those things, like I said, we look like we're making some sort of army, and we're going to go against the prince and take over. That's what the gossip is saying. So that's going on. So currently, yeah, I think we're at the meeting and things are kind of coming to a close, but now we have to decide what we are going to do with our newfound friends / people we were responsible for and the assholes around us that are now probably plotting against us if they weren't already. That's pretty much, I think, where we're at.
Step out for 1 minute and see what happens.
It's a lovely Reader's Digest version. I think most of the big points and factors were covered.
My damn gigs are fucking me all up.
No, it's adding spice, it's adding flavor, it is adding layers and levels to this thing of yours, this gathering of storms.
I don't know, Salem misses one thing and now she's a fucking anarch? What the shit?
P.S. The giggly guy is still fucking creepy. And still, I don't know what to do with him.
There's a giggly guy?
Yeah, there is a giggly guy, and yeah.
The Ventru.
Grassus Nostinus, he is typically giggly. Everything's a little bit funny when you really think about it. Isn't a little bit funny and all that good stuff. So, you know.
Sounds like someone needs their ass whooped.
I thought for sure they would have joined the coterie by now.
I think you should do that. I think you should purposely take out a primogen. I think it's worked really well for the coterie that I hear is operating in and around the Chicagoland area.
Right?
Because they get away with it.
They're like famous.
You should definitely.
Well, at least that one girl is famous.
They've shown us the way.
That is a great idea. I think it is. It should become standard operating procedure at this point, right? Just if they get in your way, take them out. Yeah, that will never go wrong.
AFK a minute here.
We are still a few minutes ahead of a hard start. There's a message that I have not looked at. Give me one quick second. Let's see if we can gain some. Insight. Hang on, lobby. Okay. No, that was just our dear Anaya Aurora Dia Mel. For some strange reason, I really am enjoying the multiplicity of personalities everyone's putting into their headers here on Beautiful Minds. It says a little bit about the characters and the souls underneath them, because it's not like anyone's adhering to like alphabetical or well, most aren't adhering to alphabetical. It's usually so far what's most present in their mind at the time, like, you know, looking at Lucio, Muzan, Aaron, Kira, Hazel, Amalia, Harper, Bo, Max, Mal, Dami. Yeah, it's a thing for me. I like it a lot.
I couldn't help it. I was OCD. I had to put them in order.
For me, it's the one game that I'm in weekly. So she is the one that, you know, occupies most of my time, and then the other two.
My OCD makes me change my name and icon every game.
I've noticed. I find it really interesting. I ended up talking to one of my coworkers today at work about, you know, hobbies and what have you, because turns out, you know, lovely person, nice. Like I said, it's a good work environment, but you know, you get to learn people over time. So in her youth, which is not as long ago as she makes it seem, she was a tapper. She was a frequent carouser. She, you know, there was all of these little small things that add up to be an almost antithetical version of herself to what she presents at work. So it was just interesting how the hobbies came up, things that, you know, held great interest. Like for her, it was tap, and then it was carousing, and then it was needlepoint, and then it was I forget what she said. It was a crochet, or it's the one without the needles where you make actual pieces of clothing and so forth and so on. She did all of that. And she misses and wishes that she had time for that, but now she doesn't really have time because of all infirmities and ailments and so forth and so on. It's like, well, you know, I recently got back into one of my childhood hobbies, and it took me a second because, as I said, recently I realized we're in 2023. Chicago started almost 4 years ago, and before that it was the play-by-post forums, you know, pro boards and J-Sync and all of that, and that stretched back easily almost a decade. And then before that, there was the, you know, once a week, everyone, Blue Moon as an adult, they get together to play role playing at a table in a basement or around. You know, it was one of those where it wasn't consistent, but it was fairly consistent, and then it started and it would stop. So it was just interesting that recent is nearly half a decade. It's going on almost 4 years, which is a huge investment of time. And it still is, as far as like memory goes, a recent development. Or maybe I'm just weird, and that's fine. I accept my my crosses to bear. Tonight's scent, as I light another cone, we're doing cones this week instead of sticks, is the good old-fashioned dragon's blood and myrrh. I need to grab some water so that we have the complete rituals begun and give Aaron time to get here. But while with the recap in place and the idea of where we'll be roughly, what, if anything, are our questions thus far?
Did I get that book I've been trying to get you?
The library was closed, and you will find, I don't believe you have the book. I think it's It's on back orders in the reference library now. You can only go there during the day, and the library doesn't like you. And your long hair and all of that constant patchouli that you wear just makes you stand out. Yes, you have the book. It's in your possession. It's at your condo.
Good. That's more important than anything else. At least to Max.
Well, he is known for having the best priorities. It's perfect. That makes perfect sense.
Well, even though now he's going to spend time reading it, he hasn't gotten to that point yet. But that's the idea. Eventually to read it.
Eventually. Eventually, you say.
And Aaron has to ask Aaron for permission, I guess, because he's getting responsibility.
Right. I wouldn't say just be happy that it's the Ventru, because you would not like the Hakata experience.
You never know. Max seems a little freaky. He might be secretly into that sort of thing. Haha. Joke's on you. He's into that. At least judging by everything.
Maybe he can hook him up with somebody to keep an eye on him.
Oh, I can definitely have someone keep an eye on him.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the way you said that. That just means that it's going to be great and wonderful, and there's going to be love, caring, and attention. Because the vampires aren't the players and characters; they're the friends we made along the way.
Right.
So we are officially at hard start, and I am going to sneak away for 4.5 minutes and have the last smoke for a while. Then we will get down to brass tacks and dive right in. We will assume that Aaron temporarily has gone catatonic until he arrives, and Mal will have to work out the details of how the coterie extricate themselves from Elysium, what they will offer or not, and we'll be picking up shortly thereafter in the present with Charlie and Max and Aaron as he arrives. So quick runaway, and I'll be right back in about 4.5 minutes.
Okay.
That took a little bit longer than I expected, but I have
It's all good.
returned. So before diving in with both feet and holding on for dear life, what, if any, additional questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or corners do we have that might need rounding off?
Nothing there. I just need to remember where I put my electric screwdriver.
Okay. The last place that you left it would be my first guess. Did you check your other pants?
I did not.
You'd be surprised what you find in your pants pockets when you start doing laundry. Old drill bits, watches, wads of money, cash.
I mean, sure, but also I wear female pants and they have no pockets.
Yeah, they do. They're sewed on and you can't use them, but they're there.
I don't think you should assume your pants is gender.
I can tell by the fact that they have no pockets that they're female.
Department of Correction pants don't have any pockets, and those little green disposable hospital pants don't have any pockets, and the ones they make you wear when you go into the maternity ward, they don't have any pockets.
I never had to wear those. I just had the dress.
See?
With no back.
But you had at least one pocket for the heart monitor, right? That at least had a pocket on it.
It wasn't so much a pocket as a slit.
They were in the process of sewing the back
pocket,
on.
same thing.
Well, with that being the case, and we don't have any additional questions, we have a grasp on where we will be picking up with moments after where we left. It is my great pleasure, as always, to thank you all. We are once more here at the cusp of the land of imagination, where we get a chance to experience these characters' world, where your efforts, energies, and time have created individuals that live on in our minds, that run rampant, have conversations, have unfortunate fallouts and minor victories and successes along the way. And play is, in fact, very, very important. We wouldn't be us without it. Man needs fantasy and all of that good stuff. So, my thanks eternally to you all, and my appreciation of what we have shared and what we will continue to share as long as we are able. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you. And without much further ado, I'd like to say that this is officially the Brew. Season 2, Episode 4. It may have been greater discovery than fire. When we last left our coterie, Max and Charlie were out in the world, tending to their affairs, tending to things that had come up, finding things that had not been quite yet discovered in their own personal corner and slice of this dark empire they are part of. And while that was in the offing, decisions as to their positions and standing going forward were being decided by the gathered primogen, the reconstituted primogen of Milwaukee. Positions were taken, gambles were made, gambits were executed, and as everything was reaching a near fevered pitch, a decision lay before the coterie. Sides are, in fact, being drawn and having already constituted themselves. So, speaking for the coterie, speaking with all due intentions one way or the other, Millie, Amalia, what would be their next maneuver to extricate themselves or dig deeper?
Well, how stubborn are we?
On a scale of Chicago to New Orleans, probably Miami.
Nice, very nice. I'm more considering that Millie the Ventru might not want to leave just yet. Amalia, the why am I in politics again? It's just like, whatever.
Millie wants to be able to talk to the prince alone, or at least a little bit away from other people, because she does not like the way assumptions are flying. She wants to make sure that the prince at least knows that no matter what the other people around him are saying to him, or what it seems, is that this is the truth. That's bullshit. So she kind of wants to be able to get at least a little bit of time to, hey, I know a lot of stuff's going on, but I need you to listen to me real quick and see if that makes a difference. But she won't do that unless everybody's on board with it. So the thing that she wants to share, I guess if I say it out of character, is about not all the information about how the blood wine is happening, but that they have that resource. So they are willing to share share that with the prince, or have that be a, hey, this is a promise from us that we're not trying to overthrow you by telling you that we have access to this and can use it to help the city. That's how she wants to go about it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so yeah, with that being agreed to, that's what she'd want to do. She'd try to not overstay their welcome, but definitely get him as alone as possible to share that information with him.
Okay. So let's simplify it down to a role, shall we? Let's approximate. In a room filled with kindred whose ages stretch from 2 decades to 30, most of which have survived due to the understanding of what politics actually is. Unlike modern connotations, unlike modern perceptions, politics is solely and only the study and application of power. Doesn't have any biases in terms of ethics or morality. That's something that's heaped on it and often part of unspoken expectations. The goal is to study, understand, and use what power you have to whatever aims you chose. So with the crowd gathered, with the group gathered, and moving singularly with the support of the coterie that you have there, a thumbs up, yeah, go. Yeah. Let's make that role one of charisma plus politics to maneuver, outpace, and outstripe a room full of predatory monsters who have experience in such. The difficulty will be contested, and as such, you won't receive any negatives to your die pool. It is a 1-for-1 exchange, with your success being the full explanation and your ability to winnow the prince away from prying eyes, ears, and influences in the midst of this Congress, in the midst of this private chamber of leaders of the city.
Alright, that's a 4.
Would my status be helping her out there?
You're assisting her winnow the gathered instead of just watching her execute her plan.
You know, like, so she might not like actually be saying anything, but you know, like trying to like keep people occupied, out of the way. Not quite body checking them, but you know.
I see. Well, in that case, would you be so kind as to roll your manipulation plus politics plus your status? Because unfortunately, unlike what we believe politics to be today, with just sound bites and swaying the population through well-appointed words, these creatures, going back as long as they have in the halls of power and loitering in and around the building, understand that politics, the practice of it, is in fact a contact sport. Just with the small gambit utilized by Lucina to put the coterie over a temporary barrel, it is a full-out contested effort. Everyone clamoring to make their points, to manipulate the ebb and flow of conversation in the direction that they wish. The debates are hot and fast and furious. There are scathing remarks said in a way that by not accepting, you are putting yourself at a loss. By not engaging, you are putting yourself behind or lesser than in status to another primitive member. It is a hot and heavy thing. You can clearly see the very real idea of might makes right utilized on a social stage. This is not people sitting around looking over books or standing at lecterns. This is a blood sport. So first, the efficacy of, that's 2, so let's minus their 2 dot from their pool, and the end result of With each of you, be so kind just to jot down one additional superficial will point of damage. There are more ways than just the 2 fangs or 4 fangs, depending on which kindred they are, of bleeding the population, of bleeding other kindred. In the attempt to maneuver and dance and evade, you've all attracted the attention and set a target on your backs, even more blatant than it already was. You all, as far as many are concerned, have more than you need. We're all supposed to be in this together. There should be an equitable exchange of territory and domain. And we, as representatives of the populace of Milwaukee, need these things so that we can, as Grasses has already stated, protect ourselves and help those beneath us to properly represent us. And there's no reason why any one of us, and the speeches are quick and fast and pointed and targeted, and before you know it, and we have people who we should be respecting, such as, and all eyes turn towards you all, and we have members of our society who have either incidentally through negligence sided with anarchs or would be anarchs if we had such a thing in Milwaukee, and they look towards you all. And as the conversations fly and attention gets more focused, the judges and the prince, in the midst of these back and forth and holding attention and clamoring for position, slip out the door they entered. J.W. Blue makes his way around to you all as others are attempting to purposely point out how you all are letting the ball drop. There's been no development in the Capitol Hill section. There's been anything for the city at large from the Capitol Hill. As the first who have been granted domain, they're not even outlining or helping us to put together other domains for other kindred. They're not helping, because good walls make good neighbors. And he leans down as you all watched the maelstrom reach a near fever pitch. Now, you motherfuckers ain't maybe used to this. such things. But if I were you, I'd take the princess cue and get gone before bloodshed starts, because, well, my job is safe. I speak for the prince when he decides to speak to everybody. Y'all position ain't necessarily the safest in this guy. You made yourselves wounded ducks, and, well, do what you will. I'm sure if you stick around much longer, one or more of y'all are gonna be bent over taking it from any one of these and giving up everything except for your name. And in his inimitable way, as being just crass enough to drive home the point and just daring enough to actually say something relatively out of left field, it seems to be sound advice. No longer under the aegis and protection of Lucina, who, for all of her abuse of you all, had been helping you up to a point. And then somewhere along the way, she stopped hurting and she stopped helping. And you all didn't reach out to her for further assistance. You all didn't glom onto her social circle. And as such, she left you floundering in the sea of all of these predatory individuals. Grass is unable to raise his voice to really interject properly, even his giggling falling quieter. The jiggling of his flesh denoting that he is in fact finding several things funny and humorous, or at least interesting, doesn't stop, but the outward manifestation of that, the audible manifestation of that, disappears. And the low-rung, low-born kindred you all allow to enter with you, to be part of your entourage, to watch how power manifests, look as if they've been kicked, look as if they've been run over, looked as if they've seen their god not only bleed, but fall broken. Well, they'd be willing to kill for you. Before this meeting, you're sure they'd be willing to die for you as well. Doesn't seem like there's much of a difference, but there is, in fact, a huge level of difference between the two.
Didn't go out. I think he was correct. We should probably leave for the evening and go sort out what's next, because I know they're going to be coming for us after this.
All right.
As you all slink away, relatively unnoticed, or at least there are many airs put on to seem as if they don't notice, Lucina yells across the body politic, "It is always a pleasure to see you all, my couzes. Maybe next time we'll have drinks." And the door closes, and you all head on your way. In the grand scheme of things, the sacrificial lamb has a role, has a very important job to do. Doesn't work out for the lamb, and doesn't work out for the canary in the coal mine. But what they do is invaluable to the rest of those who remain. And as you all leave this gathering of the primogeniture, you empathize with the lamb and the canary and the staked goat. Several holes in the preparations thus far present themselves. Several oversights, several underappreciating the waters you were swimming in rear their very ugly heads. Damaged and beaten, you all leave, but where to?
Well, I would assume we would be going back to the bar, since that's where we left from, so our respective vehicles would be there.
Yep. That's where we left the car, at the brewery, so that's probably the better place to go.
Okay. So you all begin the drive, silent or active, across the city, back to the roads. And as you all are driving, Charlie, has been a hell of a few moments, it's been a hell of a few weeks, it's been a hell of a few days. And there's no way in this or any hell that you would purposely submit yourself to the social pressures, especially when you feel secure that your representation and the ventures of your coterie and even your Hakata member should be more than sufficient to account for you not showing up. There, you can beat the bushes, you can be on the street, you can shoot your ass off, but thus far, the social pressures of dealing with other refined kindred has not worked out well for you. You still remember what it was happened to those who refused to make a decision, those who refused to outright state that they wouldn't support the prince's idea of a new primogen. So something as simple as not voting with their feet cost them their immortality. Then there were those who outright said that they did not agree and wouldn't take part, and their naysaying cost them their immortality. They were still dancing and drinks and conversation, but the truth of the matter is, that's a hell of a lot of social pressure when you think about it. So as all that was in the offing, what in fact did Charlie get up to?
I'm not sure. Maybe she's busy fixing that damn truck.
Excellent. So Charlie stayed in, and she looks at her clock. She looks at the clock on the wall, a good old-fashioned actual clock, not that digital stuff that these kids are using. No cell phone. There's an actual wound clock on the wall. She realizes that it's a little past midnight, and there's no party that starts well before midnight that should be going so far behind it. The fact of the matter is, there were decisions that she knows were clearly made. It was a meeting of the primogen. It was a meeting of the power players and power brokers of the city. So most assuredly something happened. Something occurred. Decisions were clearly made. And without there being any real way to, phone first, would she continue working on her truck, or would she go investigate with her coterie? After all, they did represent you all at that gathering of storms that was the primogen.
I kind of figured time got away from her. She was wiggling something out, wrenching on something, and just looked at the clock and went, "Oh, fuck."
So with several fucks escaping her lips, with several realizations that there was a meeting of the power brokers and power players of the city, and she wasn't there to at least hear firsthand what took place. Her thoughts, her intentions, her actions, how would she attempt to rectify that?
Well, provided she's got the truck running well enough to drive it somewhere, she's going to go probably assume that it's too late to just show up there. There's fashionably late, and then there's asshole late. So better to just not show up at that point. So she'll go look for the others.
Milwaukee is many things to many people, and all of it has nothing at all to do with renewed. There's a time-locked sensibility about the short, squat buildings that allow the wind to race through them, tearing at everything and everyone. There's a sense of tradition and family from years gone by that exists, even in the midst of all of the rampant uptick in violence. The shootings every other weekend, the muggings and fights, the fact that the police have adopted a pray and spray when dealing with most situations involving more than one person. And while that normally would mean in other places a loosening of triggers and a uptick in the purchasing of ammunition, in a campaign to remove public stigma, their pray and spray is in fact high impact pepper spray. There's more than one person involved in something. They don't start asking questions until they have subdued everyone involved. And even with that, the arrests have gone down. The peace seems to be growing. It seems to be working as over the top and beyond any sense of actual accountability as it is to, as they say, spray and pray. It seems to be having a result. It seems to be moving the needle. Not much, but that vibrating back and forth between absolutely horrible and then mostly okay sends a renewed sense of civic pride through the city. There is the always ever-present construction on the expressway, yes, but that's just how they employ most of the city and county workers. But now, in the neighborhoods leading into downtown, there's new growth. Buildings that have laid uncompleted for years, you begin to see motion and activity on. Areas where it was harder finding a police officer than it was a drop of water in the desert suddenly have patrols, and not just car patrols, but foot patrols. There is an urge and a movement towards growth, which is in and of itself a very odd thing. It stands out, those construction zones that you know were good places to occasionally hunt on the hoof. Those places where there were formerly dark, unseen alleys where you are suddenly having people moving past them, through them far more often. It's as if the city is responding to a change with an explosion of activity towards growth. You find yourself heading toward the bar, taking in all of these subtle upticks and changes. This new blood welling to the surface. And speaking of new blood welling to the surface, Max, what has kept your time?
Oh, let's dividing his time between A, working a new piece, B, trying to buy an area, a warehouse large enough to hold a gallery, and C, starting to draw up information from the information brokers about the area. He can keep an idea of what moves are being moved on our coast area. He is also trying to build up his herd.
So, in essence,
and that's the order that he's working in. A, he's trying to read that book to find out, like, if there was ever in Link Street's history a case that he ran across where multiple people were bloodbound by the same kindred. That's the first thing. Secondly, he's actually trying to get enough power for a warehouse so that in that area that he can use as a like a studio slash a studio, and as like an art display, not really a museum, but more like a display for up-and-coming artists in the Milwaukee area. That's the second thing he's trying to do. And also that it can generate enough power that he can possibly find someone on the low to generate the power from that area, being it's a large enough facility that he can power some areas of the below area. And C, trying to get some information brokers together to be like a contact network, trying to build a network of contacts to see the information of what's being bantied about above ground about our coterie.
Okay. We're gonna have to go with an approximate and leave it to the dice, as they say. Total dots in technology.
Not looking good so far.
Total dots in occult.
Eventually not looking good.
Total dots in streetwise. What's the average of those three?
1.
And what's the average of your manipulation plus wits?
3. Manipulation and wits, total 5, so average that out. Would be 2.5 if you round up, 3 if you round down, 2.
Okay, so would you take your dice pool of 3 and roll as high as you can, hunger included?
Hold on. What's his hunger currently?
In light of having kept track of your character sheet, let's go with 1 to start.
Okay. Any difficulty?
As high as you possibly can.
Okay. Oh, never mind.
So in short, the night has been a wealth of sensations, a wealth of moments, small leaps forward, only to realize that you are heading in the wrong direction. The party that you've arranged, with just the right amount of upper crusty brilliance and friends in low places charisma, the hobnobbing and the rubbing of shoulders and pressing of fleshes, the kissing the babies and shaking the hands that Max has gotten up to, has driven home the fact that people suck. These vultures, these predators of the human world, are out for one thing and one thing only: how best to exploit Max, what they feel the lorded gentry of Milwaukee, one of the rich, who, hey, don't worry about that, he got it, you just, that's what the help is for. I'm sure he's got help around here somewhere. You've overheard those comments and you didn't really think that it was applying to you till you realize that, oh, they fucking spilled on the marble? Really? Are you fucking serious? And they didn't clean it up? Jackasses. And the development deal that he's talking is nowhere near the Capitol Hill area. It's a great price, mind you, as far as those things go, but it would not work for what you're thinking. It would be astronomical to set up the warehouse, to set up the gallery, to set up the studio there, and then pipe in energy across the. Oh, you're trying to make you get caught. That's how all the weed growers before it became legal were caught. The uptick in energy. Like, are you serious? He's gonna look out for lining his pocket. And then it's sad, but the quality of workers of the night has suddenly gone down. When people realize that they can do the same thing from the comfort of their home without ever actually having to touch someone, they've all become a part of the hustle culture. And Max doesn't like being hustled. And there's something about, no matter how diaphanous their gowns and how bright their smiles, that you realize that they're here for the champagne. They're here for the wine. They're here to be seen, as is clearly evident in the number of selfies you've had to dodge out of the way of. The number of YouTube shorts that you've managed to dodge underneath the camera and evade being caught in the view of. I'm here with my girls. And you realize, I fucking wasted this evening. Sure, it's going to go down as one of the better parties of the year for these vultures, but you didn't get any sustenance from it. They didn't really waste your time, because you both had different intentions of what this night and these efforts were supposed to be. And as you're thinking on that, as you're realizing, fuck me, you look at the time, and what was supposed to be a quick little in and out, show and prove, show a little face, get a few things moving, and finalize a few deals, has taken you the bulk of the night. You're supposed to be somewhere. You're supposed to be with your coterie. You're supposed to be presenting yourself at the one of the first meetings in the Primogen. There's late, and there's fuck you late, and unfortunately you don't have fuck you status, so you still could go ahead and make an appearance. But and when the standard punishment under the prince currently seems to be losing something like your immortality, you have to consider on whether it be worth the effort.
No, that's definitely not going to be on the menu. So I figure that chances are, after everything that happens, they'll probably go to the bar. So I think I'll head there.
Lucina is the sort, as you rent delivery and take the drive across, instead of taking your own car. After all, it's easy to track, people notice it, and you've got better things to do than to be harassed or harangued. As you're making your way across the city to the bar, you realize that Lucina is the sort to teach by negatives, to exemplify the behaviors, to survive by holding your hand to the stove. She's not going to let you lose your hand permanently, but, a bruise is the best way to learn. Experience is, in fact, the best teacher. And it sucks. A growing resentment to that style of education, to that style of protection, is sitting in the center of your being. So much so that it's distracting you from realizing you haven't seen any of the normal up to that point patrols. Again, every time that happens, something huge is on the move. Something huge is happening. And there's a few more police, and the city's a little brighter. There's that dark little building that's never been finished suddenly has windows. The door has one of those security systems to keep out loiterers and the like. And as that's settling in, you are stepping out of the livery at the bar as Charlie's truck sputters, clunks, makes a huge whirring hiss, and comes to a stop into a parking spot next to you.
Charlie? question for you. Have you seen everybody?
I ain't seen no one.
Have you noticed that people are on a lot of buildings around here?
How you mean?
Well, like, look at that building in that area over there. This is still like our area, but notice how they actually did some work on it. It's not like abandoned anymore.
I mean, that's good. More food for us, right?
Well, yeah, but we didn't do it. That's the problem. That means someone is helping the area. Helping with, exaggerates the quotation marks, helping, and then that they're kind of muscling in on our territory.
Y'all mean like meddling?
Yeah, that's another word for it. We probably need to figure out who did that. Figure out why. Why is the important thing.
Where's everyone else? How's the meeting?
I don't know. I just got here. I'm sure it went okay, though. I mean, no one could have possibly did anything wrong to make anyone angry at us, right?
I don't know. I don't think they expect a whole lot from us.
That's true. That's true. And I think that's why they're licking their chops and moving in on our territory.
Well, who do you think be moving in on our territory?
That's something that we're going to have to figure out because somebody's doing it and they did it in such a way that we didn't notice. That's never a good sign.
Guess we gonna have to slap a bitch.
Yeah. I think that might be the cause of the day. Well, we might as well go inside and hang out until they get here because I don't really want to be on the street if I can help it.
There's a thing that's utilized in every aspect of theater, whether it's telling the story or the lighting and set direction, and it's all about pacing and timing. Just a perfect moment for a thing to happen. Bad news, good news, heartache, heart soaring success, all of those things are staged in such a way as to be maximally effective. Real life doesn't work that way. So as you all work your way into the bar, as you work your way through the crowds that are leaving, because it's after midnight, and while the bar and the brewery is above reproach, there's only so long you can drink if you start drinking in the morning. And the mortals, the humans, the people that, fill the coffers are beginning to leave, and those late night barflies that are bouncing from one place to the next to hide just how drunk they are and how much they indulged begins making their way there. So too does Aaron's car. As it eases to a stop, would you all be able to condense your conversation thus far, or was it everyone looking out the window watching the world go by?
I guess Millie would just kind of want to reiterate. So we have now taken on several responsibilities that we did not expect, and now we are under the microscope, and several people want what we have and are being sneaky about how to get it from us. So we need to make ourselves unassailable, or at least more unassailable. I really don't like that trick. I really don't. but she did have some good points tonight, and we'll definitely have to figure out how to make ourselves less of a target, because we just painted a big fat neon green one on our backs tonight with, I feel like we missed something. I think there were things that we were supposed to pay attention to, and we were so worried about other things that we didn't pay attention to things we were supposed to. But that's then. This is now. We need to decide what we're going to do to move forward, basically. And hope the other two can understand the massive amount of pressure we are now under.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it almost feels like we had a target on our back before this.
Oh, we did from the day we were dragged into that office area and made to kill all those other kindred. That was the day the target started. It's just gotten bigger over time. We were literally walking in there to be killed. And because we didn't get killed, and because we weren't allowed to be scapegoats, that put a target on our back. Because not only did we not get killed and become scapegoats, we got a domain. People are jealous and pissed off. I think that would be the gist of the conversation until they pulled up.
Probably.
Well, everyone knows the aphorism of speak of the devil and they shall appear. Everyone understands it. Everyone oftentimes counts on it without really meaning to, like putting that power, that energy out there in the world. Yet, it also has a downside, meaning that when you would prefer a thing to not happen, by thinking on it, you pull it to yourself, you attract it. There was a whole book series about it, like the secret, the power of attraction and positive thought and all of that. You all most people didn't put much stock into it. They were mostly agnostic about it. Like, it may not work, but there's always a chance that that's exactly the way that the world works. And that's where it sold like hotcakes. People were invested. Have you tried thinking about it? Have you made a vision board? And it became its own culture of sorts. People still hold on to the secrets of the universe as explained in The Secret. Cops typically use it to mean there's no such thing as a coincidence. So as you all talk and discuss, Aaron finally chimes up. I've got a few things I need to do. And he, instead of pulling into the parking lot, drops you off at the front of the building there at street side. And then he and his manservant drive off. Say that he looks bothered, to say that he looks flustered would be the most aggrandizing understatement ever stated. You guys walk around to the side entrance where the parking lot is and the cars are located and all of that, or do you just go in through the front door?
Amalia would probably start towards the front door unless she was drug off in a different direction.
This is her business. Why would she sneak in? So it's now she's front door.
There are troubles afoot. You've all been here often enough. Well, it is your business, and you have been a guest often enough that there's a natural ebb and flow to things. There's a way that things are supposed to be. This is normally not the sort of place where people are openly drunken. And with your wall of new blood having made themselves at home, you'd expect that the chances of drunkenness with your actual brew, your actual beer and mead and what have you being brewed and put together would only still attract the connoisseurs. Yet looking at the crowd that's here, it is in fact the late night bar flies, the sort of people that move from bar to bar to bar, that every night is a bar crawl or a pub crawl or a nightclub crawl, searching for their level of balance, being properly inebriated where the world seems to be their oyster. This is not your normal crowd. But because they are not openly problematic, they've been allowed in. They've been allowed to sit at the bar. But it's not the couples getting together for a special occasion, having a flight of several of your particular vintages. It's not the crew of college friends getting together because, I know this great place and they've got great IPAs and they've got great box and they've got great... No, it's not that crowd. It's the men and women who've given their lives towards a thing and now are on the downward slide of a hill they didn't realize that they had gotten to the top of. It's the older couple sitting there angrily sipping, and you know that they're one wrong look or from, you know what, Margaret, fuck you and your mother. I never loved you, Charles. It's that sort of crowd where they're angry at the world for their expectations not being reached. And they haven't been reached for so long that they've grown accustomed to the sourness and bitterness that inhabits them. It's instead of the pretty group of bridesmaids who've been friends since kindergarten and one of their group is finally getting married, it's gotta be great. You don't have that. You have the group of coworkers that hate spending time with each other, but someone said, let's go out to drink. And they're just finding a way to drink just enough. You know, Tom, you couldn't sell your ass. Sort of conversations, building up the liquid courage to get there too. And while nothing in the moment is actually happening, you feel the aura of them. They've added to the room noises, and their presences have incidentally caused the normal customer, the normal client, the normal person who's sampling a good bit of well-made beer to find other places to do so.
Oh well, if it's obvious when I walk in, she'd be looking for Colin.
He's there at his usual place, stewarding the bar, making sure that the temperatures are where they're supposed to be, that the stock is kept up behind the bar. And it's clear that you've all had more business tonight than as per usual, because at this hour of the evening, normally he's shutting things down, you're wiping things up, you're making sure that things are being put away so that you don't have much to do at close, and yet he's loading in another case of growlers. Not just beer bottles, but he's loading in a case of growlers, which in and of itself is enough for a person to get snookered off of. It's basically a 6-pack in one singular reusable container.
She looks around and then looks at him. So, lovely that business is booming. But at the same time, the aura in this room when I come in, it's not our usual.
Nay.
It's not pleasant either.
Nay, it's not. I've got a bunch of sad salts around, but there's not much I can actually do about it now, can we? Well, we haven't formed a private tasting house, so as long as they're not legally inebriated beyond the point of us actually turning them away, what would you like me to do, madam?
That is a good idea. Maybe we should start like a loyalty club or some sort of VIP situation, just to avoid this sort of bullshit. But we'll come back to that later. Now, I guess for the most part, just keep an eye on them and don't let anybody start any fights.
I'll do my best, but you may be too late for that, Adela. He's come down twice now. Something about a promotion that he may not take because it'll take her off the street.
Girl is fucking hard-headed. I'll try to talk to her, but things did not go very well tonight. We had people gunning for us in a more political way than actual physical way, but it might turn into physically gunning for us at the same time. So, yeah, we need to decide what we're going to do. But in the moment, there's nothing for you to do save make sure the bar goes well.
Yeah,
So I'll
and
keep you updated.
the daytime manager and potential CFO you're asking about, and then he pulls out a folded up, honest to goodness resume. He's folded it down to the side that it's almost the size of a index card and hands it to you. Of all the candidates, this is the only one with the qualifications you're looking for, and he hands it to you.
One, that's it.
The qualifications that you're looking for are able to keep their mouth shut during the interview, able to hold things that may not be right and offer a hand, able to, well, be accredited in a nice public face. Nice, handsome gentleman he was. I can keep looking, but for your qualifications, it is what it is, madam.
She just kind of rubs her temples. Keep it open for now, and I will go over this guy. Maybe there's something we can do about the keeping secrets and mouths shut thing, but I'll come back to it again.
Comes highly recommended in all the wrong circles. You know, the circles that trouble may have started once or twice, but is able to come out relatively clean. I would have hired a detective, but no, you didn't want me to go that far just yet.
Actually, I might need a detective for a different reason, but I'll come back to that again. Have you seen the other two?
You mean, though, and he points towards the door leading to the parking lot. And in walks Charlie and Max. Hazel, your mic doesn't seem to be working. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
I just had to plug it in. It was dying on me.
Aha. So, Charlie, Max, walking in the door, seeing the crowd, and seeing Amalia and Millie near and behind the bar talking to Millie's man calling Mr. McNamara. Something about he never ever has said to any one of you, "Oh, my name is Mr. McNamara. Call me Colin." It's always been McNamara. Not McNamara. In the few moments you've all tried to engage in conversation when Millie wasn't around or when you were just making your way in. In fact, he hasn't actually officially done much more than lead you where you needed to go to meet Millie, and you guys know your way around the pub, the brewery now, so there's very little reason for you all to interact with him.
Max walks over to where they are. Sorry I missed the meeting. Anything important happen?
Oh, so many things, but let's go to the conference room, shall we?
Oh, it was that fun, huh?
And you all hear from across the room. Every room has a sound, including the tasting room, the pump room here at the brewery. But there's a quietness and a seething sense to the room now, which is unlike its normal room sounds. There's usually people celebrating small minor victories, small moments, and just enjoying themselves, and there's a bit of a snobbishness to the air usually. That's horrendously lacking. And you all hear, "Gertrude, I've never loved you." And it's like a mic drop. A sliding of stools out of place and a starting as you all look over the room and begin heading towards the back.
Maybe somebody should fix that.
Sound like a fixing itself.
His face is like scrunches, and she's like, "Oh no, Harper, catch them up. I think I gotta handle this."
Yeah.
And she starts walking towards the table.
I don't know.
Years of marriage?
First rule is you don't get involved in someone else's bullshit. It's a good way to get yourself all fucked up.
Yes, 60 years of hell. What? Here? That's the reason why you want to try somewhere new? Your histrionics despise me. I'm done. And I have colon cancer. Ew. And it just picks up and it begins to be fed by the absence of feeling and the absence of actions of those around it. You watch as, well, faces break in half with tears. There's a resolute, purposeful na of sharing pain happening. And like chickenpox at a pizza party, it begins to spread.
Huh. It's almost like that one Buffy episode. That was train wreck.
Max kind of uses heightened senses. Does something seem off besides the obvious, obviously, but does something seem like off because this is kind of strange for it to all happen tonight, like right now.
Well, listening into conversation. Or?
Yes. Or he tries to, as he's watching, he pays a particular attention to their faces.
You don't need heightened senses, but tapping into sharpening your ears and focusing your visual acuity, there is stress takes its toll. Stress and pain takes a toll on every living thing. It will age you faster than every ounce of every year you have ever lived. There's a reason why the average age looks completely completely opposite of what it is. The average age in the space right now is actually 35 years old. But stress and unhappiness has aged these people. The alcohol use and recreational drug use doesn't help, but the underlying issue, being an artist, being someone who is focused on what things look like to convey a message, is stress. You gather enough unhappy people together in the right place at the right time. And while you can't predict when, sad things happen, bad things happen. And then you add in the spirits of inebriation. And while it doesn't change the timetable of when things might happen, because you can't predict that, you can all but ensure that whatever little thing happens will be a big thing. Inhibitions lowered. Things that would not have otherwise been uttered come tumbling out. It's a lubrication for social interactions, but it magnifies the feeling and emotions of those involved. And as you look at the barflies gathered, really, honestly, look at them. It's everything you can do personally to not just get sad. It's all you can do right now to not begin sketching once more in your blue period, and it's all you can do now to not make an alter to the spirit and feeling of being depressed and stressed and sadness. It's the distilled essence of that. And Charlie, you're leading Amalia away. You guys are walking away from the bar towards the back room, or you're waiting for Max to snap out of his reverie as he lovingly looks on the crowd gathered. And while
I think at this point Amalia is just over it, and her little shortness is just going to reach up and do her best to grab him by the ear and drag him.
Okay.
He reaches in for his sketch pad and his pencils, his charcoals, and he's trying to capture that moment of horror.
The
lady
I'll stay out of it. Oh, I guess we're doing this now.
As Mallory walks away from them, she looks back. I said, go. It's my business. I have to handle this. You're fine. Go. You need to be caught up on what happened this evening. Just go. And she makes it to the table.
Can I go safely without falling into Max's bane?
yes,
Okay. He sighs deeply. Fine. And resigns himself to actually following them.
Amalia does not let go of his ear. Her little 5'3" self is dragging him as best as she can. Kind of comical, almost.
I hope something really interesting happened, because that was the moment that I was looking for.
I don't even know who was going to appraise us, because they're all busy beating up an old man with cancer.
So closing
Who's
on the
beating
table.
people up?
Closing on the table with the heartache spreading like an open wound is leaking arterial blood into the space. The outbreak, the outburst causes others. Man, shut up. You shouldn't be doing that, old lady. Why are you butting into the conversation? Same way you do at work all the goddamn time. Who are you talking about butting in? I'm the manager. Without pay and without title. You dummy. And it just grows. It begins with quietude at first. How could you say that? To everyone taking their shots where they can't. What is it that you...
I throw up all. I want them to shut the fuck up so I can handle this. I throw up all.
So eyes turn to you, murmurs become a little less invective. And while they're focusing on you, they're still picking at each other. You kids, quiet or come back there. And the kids in the back seat, i.e. the people around you, instead of ceasing their years of frustration, depression, and stressed swallowing, do that thing that kids in the back seat do. They gauge where the mirror can see. And then just behind the seat, where you can't actively actually see them, there's that little swing of the foot to touch, or resting it against the person that you've annoyed and has annoyed you. And you're willing to burn this whole damn thing down, but you also don't want to get caught in the act. And so the quiet murmurings become attacks in and of themselves. Trifling. Oh my God, look at that outfit. You would never be able to pull something off like that. Oh my God, those eyes. She has such great eyes, unlike you, who can't see what the spreadsheet actually means. Oh my God, she is gorgeous. Look at that. Just bright, sparkling personality, unlike everything you've ever done, which has ruined the world around you. The vitriol and vehemence of which is said directly proportionally oppositional to how quiet is being said. You no good ever. You are hideous, just like your father. And it's being said and whispered and stage whispered back and forth as their eyes and ears are focused on you. You have their attention, but you don't have their hearts. You don't have a way to staunch the bleeding of all of those negative emotions that they've been laboring under. In this case, it looks like years. It looks like this is their new constant, always. The sort of unhappiness and stress responses that no matter how good something may have been, because you are sure that there are a few good moments throughout their lives and years, no matter how good it was, in factual statement of good, but it's gonna stop soon. I don't even know why. It's that sort of negativity, that sort of just pall that shades everything as the worst example of itself. And they've been living with it, existing in it, bubbling and soaking it in, marinating in that, and now it's spilling over. It's leaking all over them and their immediate environment.
She raises her voice to be heard by everybody and says, since I think we could all use some cheering up this evening, I'm going to make the last round of the evening, which will be this very next one, on the house. But to get that round, I'm going to need everybody to separate and go to their own table. We're going to serve you individually at your table, one person at a time. And gives everybody like a big smile and thumbs up, like, yes, this is what we want you to do. Do this. Can I add some persuasion to that?
Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma plus persuasion plus presence, contested
I'm using my last damaged willpower. Because this needs to happen.
Excuse me. Undamaged willpower. Let's go. Some people would know a good thing if it bit them. Others would find a way to turn it into the absolute worst example of themselves. This crowd has been down so long that looking up is a pain. Having a semblance of hope is akin to being bathed in lie. Having anything good only means that something worse will, of course, happen to them. And you hear it starts as a murmur. Man, fuck this place. I don't need their charity. You don't need their charity. You don't even make half as much as I do. That's because you make half as much as you should. And the bickering ends with several people sitting their glasses down. I'm gonna go ahead and close out. I don't want anybody's charity. I can pay my own way. But it sounds like crabs clicking their claws, closing in on you on the beach to pick and pinch portions of your existence away. There is a such thing as the milk of human kindness. This vitriol, this weight of just heinous negativity, never being able to appreciate the sun's warmth, never appreciating the ability to dance in the rain, never being able to appreciate where they are despite all of their failings and shortcomings, and stay in the moment, whatever that moment is. It's like watching someone beat a puppy because the puppy decided to lick them, to show some appreciation, to show some positive emotion towards them. And they respond as if that puppy had grievously torn off limbs and pieces of their flesh, because goodness has become for them a pain. Positivity for them has become torture. And it, like most things, is contagious. And it grows in the dark of the soul like mushrooms, being fed on all of the shit that they've turned into the good things in their lives. It grows and spreads like spores on their skin, much like every communicable disease. And you know how when you taste something that is smooth and smells sweet, and you sink your teeth into what you are expecting to be a lovely bit of truffle or a nougat or something rich and creamy and just as sweet as things have seemed only to find concentrated lemon juice soaked in habanero and ghost pepper. It's not that those things are painful. It's not that those things are horribly damaging, but the fact that you were expecting something sweet and instead got something tart and spicy, in that moment of shock, it's everything you can do to not cry out. It's everything you can do to not have your eyes start to water at the sheer betrayal, because you know what it tastes like by looking at it. You know what it tastes like by inhaling the scent of it. It should be sweet, it should be rich, it should be decadently enjoyable, and instead it offers you nothing but pain. That's what this moment feels like. It's the antithesis of what being alive should mean. as people turn your kind offer for peace and the several hundreds of dollars that would cost you into you somehow affronting them, into you somehow insulting them. And the quiet murmurs strikes that same chord as doing battle at Elysium in the Birmingham Chamber. Fucking people suck. And as that settles in, it is 5 after the hour. Let's be back here at 15 after, and we'll pick up in the back meeting room that's become the regular hangout for this particular coterie.
Okay.
Okay. Well, while we wait for Millie to make her arrival, when we stepped away, Millie had ushered you all to head to the back room, and she would join you after settling whatever was brewing in the taste room and the pump room. You all making it back to what has become your headquarters of such. And settling in, door closing behind you. What is it that you all do? What is it that you all discuss?
Have a seat. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Max finds a nice area that he can sit down in, comfortable. One of the soft chairs.
Y'all had a good meeting then.
Absolutely not. But in a turn of events, since the two of you weren't there, you're basically being put back into the accounting again. But Aaron is going to be your person that you report to.
What the fuck?
Report to? Run that by us again?
Yeah, so basically anything you do, the two of you, impacts him. If you don't behave, it falls back on him. And the rest of us. But mostly him. So get your shit together.
I already got sire.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. This is politics.
Who decided this shit?
I will gesture at Max. It's like, his lady buddy decided it for you. She was oh so kindly offering to take you under her wing and teach you how to be a good little kindred.
Max starts to say something and just sighs. I don't know. I got nothing.
I gotta talk to Max about this.
Hey, I didn't say anything and I wasn't there.
Yeah, that's the point. You're supposed to be there. Primogen Council and all that.
You guys could handle it. Didn't you?
I don't think that mattered so much.
Well, not to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm starting to see a weird thing happening. It's starting to develop. It's like really low. It's starting to develop, and I really don't know what to do with it. I've noticed that a couple of places that were like abandoned and ignored in our area is being fixed, and I don't know who's doing it.
My guess would probably people who want to horn in on our area. The Nosferatu expressed an interest, thinking we shouldn't have such a big area. And clearly, because two of us weren't there, we didn't care about it.
Maybe we should find out who bought that building and who's paying to get it renovated.
Nos ain't gonna fix shit up like that.
It had like security, and the windows were replaced. Nosferatus don't move like that.
That's very stereotype.
Just saying. Yeah, saying I could be wrong, but I could be right.
Well, that is something we can look into, yes. But they weren't the only ones expressing interest. Because clearly it's not fair that we, the scapegoats, should have this big of a domain, and when we clearly can't take care of it.
I was trying to do that, but it really fell through, like hardcore fell through. But I was trying to buy an area so that we could fix it up. It kind of fell through.
They know we want busy taking.
Go ahead.
Now they know we weren't busy taking care of it while they were talking, blowing smoke up each other's asses.
I don't think it mattered. You weren't there. That's the point.
It's a bunch of bullshit. I'll talk to my sire about it.
If your sire can get you out of it, let me know so we can try to get out of it, because I don't want to have him over our every move. That doesn't seem fair.
How do you think he feels?
To be someone's lap boy.
Again, how do you think he feels? Your actions reflect on him, just like they did your sire's.
I'm gonna talk to Lucinda, maybe quiet in the dark, and see if we can kind of get her to get off our backs. I'm gonna put that as something that I'm gonna take care of a little bit later.
So you're trying to tell me that you think it's just as bad to be made a babysitter as it is to be made a baby?
The option was someone in the coterie or someone who may want to totally destroy us.
I'm just saying, we're complaining and you're saying, oh, well, think how he feels. I don't give a fuck how he feels. Think how I feel.
Have I come out of the front room by that point?
Yes.
So as I come in and I hear you. As
I
I come in and I hear that.
You because this is bad.
Yeah.
Yes, of course it's
Hold
bad.
on. The point is, Charlie, it was either him take responsibility or one of us take responsibility for y'all, or that you forfeit your own life. So he saved your fucking life by taking responsibility for you. As much as we don't care about how he feels and don't think about how you feel having to be babysat, it shouldn't have needed to be a reason for anybody to be babysat. This was important. We were all supposed to be there. And forgot, or oops, I got carried away with something else, means that is exactly what the fuck it looks like. This is why they think we are bad at what we're doing, that we need to be watched, or that we're plotting against them, and that you needed a fucking babysitter.
Whatever. I'm just saying. I ain't saying I ain't grateful for whatever went down there and transpired. I was just getting a little pissed off of being told, oh, Aaron has gone off and he's a great big martyr and nothing happened to you.
To be fair, like I said, he was tricked. So it wasn't really him being a hero, you know. Well, no, I don't consider it that. It's more of the fact that he definitely stepped up. But it's not that him being a martyr or a hero. It's just, yeah, it's going to make it difficult with them expecting him to be responsible for the things you do. I'm not expecting your behavior to change at all or anything extra expected of anybody. Maybe we just realize that we all are a coterie now, and things that each other do affect all of us, not just one of us.
Well, that's kind of my point. We are also affected. I objected to what I felt like was that poor Aaron, and then the rest of us just, you know, even though we're now considered babies again, when I'm probably older than some of the people in the room here.
Okay, everybody, let's take a breath. Obviously, this was a planned assault on us, and let's not give them the satisfaction of it working.
And this insult, indeed. Your friend you were just talking about going to see and speaking to privately, she started that planned assault on us.
Oh, of course she did. She's a Toreador. What would you expect? It could be.
Well, once she stopped participating, it got a lot worse. But I don't know whether we should be thanking her for stirring shit.
Maybe that Coos just needs her ass beat.
Yeah, she's calling us that now, by the way. That is our new nickname. Her favorite Cooses.
That's pretty hilarious.
She turned it into a whole joke.
She's kind of like that. It's kind of that sort of thing. I'll see if I can get us some breathing space. But I don't know if you know, but somebody's buying they're buying buildings here and they're renovating them. I'm more concerned about someone invading our space. Besides that happened outside, that's a lot of negative energy that I've never seen in your place. I think something's going on, and we need more information. We really need to get some information going.
Well, let's just walk over there and ask them.
Did we
I'm fairly
talk
certain
about
that they
how the
won't tell us.
Nosferatu were trying to claim our place? Did we talk about that?
let
Among
them
other
know.
reasons.
They won't tell
Or
us
that
if
they
he
think
asks
we're
you
building an army?
Yeah, that's important too. But we need there's a lot going on and no one's really stepping up and saying what's happening. So I think we might need to figure that out. That might be important.
So we just go over and ask. If they don't answer, we can ask again. Unless someone got a better idea on how to figure it out.
Wait, I'm confused here. Are we asking what again?
Who's renovating that building?
I can ask my IT guy to look into it.
Also, it might be a good idea, and I'm just thinking, why don't, and might just be kind of my thing, but can you possibly get your IT guy to figure out if there's a possibility of a way for us to run power unobtrusively downstairs?
I'm sure there is.
Because if we can run power downstairs, we can actually turn that area into a very, very, very useful domain.
Well, considering that it was meant to be a city under the city, there are probably already generators down there.
World War II?
Found them yet.
I don't know about that, but we should probably find that too. If they are generators, that might be cool too.
Oh, wait, do I remember what city you're talking about? I don't remember a city. When did that happen?
The city underground that I've told everyone about and have been exploring.
Oh yeah, that thing. You know what? I just had a stroke of genius. You know how the Nosferatu want a piece of the domain?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And they typically like living underground anyway. And it would be a hassle for us to clear that place out. Why don't we just, in the sake of friendship and one less fucking enemy, point them in that direction and let them have it?
Absolutely not.
For free?
Absolutely not. That's a city. Like a legit city down there.
I mean, I ain't against it, but not giving it to them for free.
No, not. I mean, come on. Venture here? No, not for free. But, like I said, it would solve several problems at one time.
How about we let them have access to it? But we have to get something in return, like information. They keep us on the information, they cut it edge, let them use it.
I'm not even done mapping it yet. It could be
right.
No. It could be that there's secret ways in and out of several different parts of the city that we would just be giving them access to.
Yeah, but who's to say that we would lose access to that? The fact is, if we give them access to it and they go in and do the hard work of clearing it out, but
You're going to think it's theirs.
That's
They already think it's theirs.
Okay, so why don't we sit down and start there? What's our long-term goal for the city? I'm just asking. We have an idea for it?
Well, from what I figured out already, is we've got a nice little city down there. It's possible that the wolves have access through the lake, because reflective surface, giving them easy access to everywhere. And there might be a fairy circle down there. That's not to mention all of the little ghosties that I haven't cataloged either.
I don't know what any of that is.
Werewolves. Big, eat, kill.
not for nothing, but they ain't always big, large, and hairy. Sometimes they're small. Sometimes they go beneath notice. Sometimes they rile up humans in areas that they believe we kindred might exist to smoke us out. Because that whole situation of you are what you eat is truer for us than it is for the living. But go on. I find this interesting.
Charlie will look to see who the hell that is.
Yes.
Here's a gentleman.
Yes.
There's a gentleman sitting at the rearmost chair, closest to the door. Now, you all didn't hear the door open. Now, here's the thing. You've all been here often enough that just like the room sounds you become accustomed to, you know when they change. So that door, while well oiled and kept in almost immaculate condition by Colin, is one of the many cleaning tasks that he sets people towards to make sure that all the doors, everything's operational. There are no light bulbs that are out there, no wet spots on the floor. There's no excess. He's a little bit anal in regards to how he drives the daytime staff to keep things operational. But even that, you all know how that door sounds when it opens. You all know the pressure shift and change when that door opens. You've been here often enough that even without thinking about it, you know what it sounds like. Yeah, sitting in the rearmost chair, a gentleman about 5'6", maybe 5'7" if he wears lifts. His slicked back dark hair, looking like something out of central casting for a 1970s mafioso. He's sitting in a gray suit. It's a wool blend, and he has a nice, fairly wide pink tie to go, strangely enough, with the gray and the black undershirt. His cufflinks are huge and gold and gaudy. His shoes are, strangely enough, instead of him wearing the typical black anything, he's wearing a very shine and polished loafer. The sort that usually isn't worn anymore. The sort that actually has pennies, although in his case they're actually euros in each of the eyelets. And he's sitting there, legs crossed, fingers stapled in his lap, and a light smile on his face.
Well, I'm gonna sense the beast, that guy.
And Amalia's face is just like, fuck.
Yes. Yes, no need to sense the beast. 100% kindred.
Well, who the fuck are you then?
My friends call me Tony. And he stands up and slightly bent, like you can tell that there's a musculature there from relatively hard days work during his living years, but he's smaller in stature than his personality seems to portray. And he walks forward, his hands extended. How you doing? Tony Calablarci. Hi, how you doing?
Charlie Walker.
Maximilian Devereaux.
Mac,
Tony, what brings you here?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Oh, I probably would.
I would love to find that out for myself. What brings you here, Tony?
Well, this city's about to burn. That energy doesn't have to be directed in a negative way. You all are about to be beset by the second coming of werewolf Jesus. Chicago, I don't know if you know this, has been beset by what you guys call lupines for years now. They have an actual trade agreement keeping them from doing things too horrible. As long as the kindred stay mostly beneath the radar, they're okay. That doesn't happen everywhere. In fact, your Prince Decker, has beaten them into near submission. They've given up hope. And hope, while it's a dangerous thing, it hurts when it turns against you. The lack of it makes you feel as if you have nothing else to lose. So for years now, they've been sending scouting parties, members of their clans, their tribes, whatever they call themselves, who are on the verge of death, to go out in a glorious battle because, well, they've already lost their holy war, whatever it was. But most of those old wolves, most of those old mentality, that Viking spirit, let me die a glorious death, most of them are already completely gone. They leave behind people who have lost hope without having lost their sense of mission, without having lost their sense of finding a way to pull defeat from the jaws of victory. Those who are foolish and young and everyone's everything and you can be whatever you want as long as you put your, but all without that sense of hope. So a great groundswell of furious, hairy, and well, sometimes hairy individuals are preparing to descend on this city and give their very literal all, because there are magical items, fetters, artifacts, talismans, roads leading to the cans. They're holy sites hidden within the city in various places. And they have reached the point where they have nothing left to lose and everything to gain by an all-out assault. That's a lot of energy, you know? And in my own jihad, you might call it, my own holy war, I could use that energy. Of course, my plans elsewhere fell true, so I've got a limited amount of time to do a lot of things. And with everyone's intentions pointed wherever they are pointed, there was a magnet of negative emotion. The conflagration of disgraces you all had here tonight, I don't know who pulled it off or how long they were pulling it off, but it takes a lot of cultivating to find that many people struck with that one singular palpable. It's delicious. It's like, have you ever had a lemon egg drop soup? It's sour, it's tangy, it makes the back of your mouth feel as if it's being donkey punched. That's what you had here tonight. And you can smell it all the way across the city. Whoever, or whichever one of you all were smart enough to do that, because, you know, well, resonance is real. Let's just call it what it is. My hat's off to you. But I figured anyone who's willing to mind rape and browbeat and cold such a sweet, distinct element of emotionality in that many people, those are my sort of people that I can potentially help, who can help me. So what do you say? I help you all, you help me. We both get something magnanimously beautiful out of this arrangement. And, you know, not for nothing, I keep you all from falling to the teeth and claws of what's coming your way.
No offense, but I'm the type that likes to see what I'm buying and what it costs before I agree to the purchase.
That's a shame. You got a knife?
I got a gun.
Max looks at everybody.
Oh, you got a gun? Okay, cool. So I'm gonna give you a count of 3. And then I'm going to stick my finger through your chest. And I'm gonna play the xylophone with your rib cage. The only way to stop me Well, you can't stop me. But the only way I'm gonna change my mind from doing that is if you blow my fucking head off right now. 3, 2, and he moves. There's no such thing as moving faster than the vampire eye can follow. There's no such thing as moving faster than the human eye can follow. Because in truth, the eye sees a huge swath of the light spectrum. However, the brain can't process faster than a certain speed. And so while the eye records the data and is sending that signal, the brain is so caught up because the information is happening so fast that the only thing it can do to save your sanity is to meld frames of the light spectrum that you're seeing. And in that case, it's too fast for even that to work, to slow things down so you can see the detail. It blots it out. It blanks the image. It's literally, you blink and there's nothing there. That is exactly how fast Calabalarshi moves. Your eyes register him having been there, but he's moving too fast for your brain to process the signal. And true enough, his singular finger, he doesn't grow any feral claws, he doesn't suddenly shift into a huge horrid bat form, or he doesn't change form at all, but his finger plunges through your lungs and he wiggles it against your back rib cage from the inside. It ain't too comfortable, but you'll live. This is what I can do to lupines, to the wolves. And he withdraws his finger and he's back to where he was standing, and he's suckling on the bit of vitae still clinging to his finger. I am a man of my word. I keep true to everything that I say because I have to. If I don't, I die. And I don't plan on meeting final death anytime soon. So the proof of my pudding is in the tasting. You want another sip?
Oh, Tony, there's a small problem. I'm not Tremere. I have no magical powers. Whatever is happening that you're tasting is happening to us, not by us.
All that notwithstanding, first of all, Al, what the fuck? Second of all, I didn't say that you couldn't deliver. I just asked what it was you were offered to deliver.
Like I said, I keep the furry lupines from destroying you in this sea of violence that's heading toward this city. At which point, you help me as needed when it comes time. Simple. You know that old phrase, don't look a gift horse in the mouth? And damn shame, because now I may have to renegotiate if you're not responsible for that delicious meal of, well, suffering. I'm gonna have to find who was responsible, but I already made the offer, so I gotta hold up to it. Now here's the thing, it's a yes, it's a no, it's a maybe even. I'll even take a maybe because, well, I kind of don't want to follow through on my end of the deal now, considering I know that you're not driven enough to do that to people.
It didn't say driven, just said that I don't have the ability to. If I knew how, I would.
Oh, it's easy. You inflict unending suffering and do everything you can to keep the person alive. Their attempts at self-harm, you foil. Their attempts to trade up in the world, you foil. You keep all of the goodness that may be following into their life and turn every bit of good into a little bit of bad. And that, bada bing, bada boom, a couple of years, they are so filled with that depressive state of understanding that whatever goes wrong in the world will only go wrong for them. Then they start breathing it in. You know what's funny? Humankind can adapt to anything. if given enough time. And they slowly begin to adapt to that depressive life. And it becomes all that they have. And they don't want to lose their life because there's always the hope or the idea of hope that tomorrow will be better. And by the time they realize that hope will not save them, it's too late. They're stuck in it. It requires a lot of dedication and, well, a lot of willpower and drive to do that to someone. You are literally manipulating every aspect of their life in every way that you can to make sure they have the worst time possible, but are never able to leave it. It's a good tool. We used to do that a lot to get the necessary resonances that we need. Forcing it takes time. You're cultivating a bonsai tree made of human emotion and flesh.
Charlie will look to the quiet too and say, well, I mean, I would probably be in if I was allowed to make my own decisions.
Mal, what say you? Amelia, what say you?
She has been standing there gobsmacked the whole time since he said werewolf Jesus. So she's just kind of like brow well into her hairline. And this is the most unintelligible she's ever been, because usually she has something very smart to say, but the moment she's kind of like, how the fuck did he get in here? That's what I want to know. But besides that, okay, sure, yes, I don't want to fight werewolf Jesus. I'm good with that. I have my own things going on. So yeah, helping you sounds great as long as you fight werewolf Jesus.
Who said anything about fight? I think I'm a brilliant negotiator. I'm sure that we can find another reason for me not to have to, well, remove them from this plane of existence, because after all, the best thing you can do in this world is make your enemy work for you. Not that he's my enemy.
That's what I was just trying to say about the Nosferatu. And nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, they're fucking ugly.
I didn't say not do it.
They typically don't stink, but you'd be surprised. Their clothes, however, is another matter entirely. But ugliness is its own reward. I don't know about you, but I prefer beautiful things near me. You guys almost meet the criteria for that.
No argument here. No argument here. Well, we want to definitely not die by werewolves, because that seems like that would hurt. Tony, how long have you been have you been in the city long enough to know who might be targeting us, or is it just like kind of a general everybody?
Generally, everybody.
I like that. And you never gave your name.
Who, me? I'm Max.
No, I know you, Max. And I know Charlie. You.
Me.
Yeah, you.
Amalia.
Milliner. Tony. Milliner. Huh. I didn't think you had any worthwhile Hakata this far north. And you.
Thank you, cousin.
You.
And me,
yes?
what?
No, you. Yes, the no werewolf Jesus gobsmacked a little moment there. How you doing?
She may need a moment.
I do realize that we have been entirely rude, and normally I'm a much more put together face, and my name is Millicent LaRue Black, and I am the proprietor of this place.
Ah, you're Black. Nice. I knew a couple of you guys down in New Orleans.
Orleans sounds like it's a very interesting place, if what I've heard on the wire is to be believed.
Yeah, but believe everything you hear, especially the lies. They're all true. But now that we have this agreement, I gotta honor it, so you don't need me for at least a couple of weeks. And the first attack should happen somewhere around in there. If I were you, and I'm not, but if I were you, I listened to the watery blooded caitiff, the old guy. There's what's his name? When I see things that don't always come with sound, but there's an old guy, dresses pretty dapper for the 1940s. Balding head. I don't know what he's saying. Can he see his face? He's making a face like you have exasperated him beyond being exasperated. What else? What else can I?
Blue. JW.
Whatever.
He's the Princess Speaker.
Oh, that would be why. He's important. He's a linchpin. And when he goes, things will get worse for you guys. So, I'm not sure why they get worse for you, but I can tell you that they get worse for you. This Prince, Decker, he ever reconnect with his daughter, his child, his kid, his thing? Or are they still estranged?
I think she's dead, ain't she?
No, not last time I checked. Needless to say, anyway, if you all think that she's dead, it means that he has not reconnected with her. Yeah, that would be why. No child there. Well, not his child of his heart, his favorite youngest child, and then his good, close, personal pet, Kato, gets killed. That would explain why things get worse for you guys. But anyway, I gotta go find who made or whatever that was out there. Have a couple of words with them. But I'll be back. I'll be around.
Check maybe the farm.
Interesting.
We've got some trade going on out there.
Interesting.
The pater is currently running it.
Rossi or Rossellini?
Rossellini.
Oh.
Or is it?
The younger.
Yes.
Okay.
No, the older. My bad. Too many Rossis. The elder, the mother.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not good. But I'll go look, I'll go talk, I'll make an impression, I'll see you guys in around a couple of days. We'll check in, see how you're doing, and see if anything changes from what I can see, and we'll go from there. Anyway, have a nice evening. I'll see myself out. Mingle amongst yourselves. And he walks to the door and opens it. Looks left and right up your hall, and steps into the hall by raising his right foot and leaping forward, landing with both at the same time. The moment that his feet connect with that hall, that tile outside your door, he ceases to be in the moment.
Billy, you're gonna have to have security in here. You know that, right? You let all types of people come in at night.
Yeah, like us. That was creepy.
She looks at Max. Left or right?
I'm just saying.
Left or right? Which foot do you want in your ass right now?
In all seriousness, who has an occult? Who has the ability to understand the occult?
Yes.
Remember that book that I wanted you to read? And we just kind of unceremoniously left here?
The one that I was drooling over?
Mm-hmm.
What about it?
I need to break that down because I read some of it and it means nothing to me.
This was one of my favorite shirts.
It's only a finger hole. Come on, Charlie. I'll buy you a new shirt. But you're gonna have to read that book and digest it and tell me what it says so I can return it.
Sure. Let's do that.
And your IT guy, if you could tell us who owns the building that's being renovated, that might also give us a clue as to who's stepping in. And
what's the address? Is that the property you were trying to buy?
It was one of them, but it would just happen to be on the way here. I noticed that it was like kind of run down, and I was like, "Cool." But then
Did
there's a
anyone know
security
that
system.
you were trying to buy it?
No, not yet.
Was it, were you trying to use electronic means to put in offers, bids, that sort of thing?
No, I was actually, I was at a party, and I was trying to, talk to some people, but they were really not about anything.
So people there could have overheard. Who else was at the party?
A bunch of randos. They just want to be seen. It wasn't that type of information.
You know what the nice thing about servants there? You overlook them because they're supposed to be invisible.
That's true. But whoever bought the place and is renovating it already have it. So we just need to know who.
While they're having this conversation, she's listening, but then she phones up front to call him, asking him for a flannel shirt and a bottle of the special beer for Charlie.
Sure thing. I'll have it back to you in a second. I'm just wrapping up this mess at the bar. Some jackass empty the contents of their stomach into our antique spittoon that's just literally there for decoration. They decided to use it as if there was the loo.
At least it's not on the floor.
They've had the M of blind pigeons.
Well, sorry. Guess I'm going to be taking a trip home.
Swing by my condo, and I'll give you a photocopy of the book. That way I can return it, because the person who had it, I really don't want mad at me.
Was it, what's her name?
Why not? Everyone else is mad at us.
Well, let's put it this way. If the person who owns this book was mad at me because I lost it, I don't even think Decker could stop him.
Who did it belong to?
My sire.
And they're still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it... Right. Here I was expecting a family heirloom. Silly me.
He's a family heirloom. Don't tell him I said that, because he kicked my ass just because.
You sure he can't hear you here?
I pray that he couldn't, but considering that he and they could be anywhere and everywhere all at once, it's possible.
The letter opener that Millie uses to open letters and is mostly just sentimental. There's no real edge to it. Not enough to typically, without some effort, do much damage in a fight. It turns so that the tip is pointing towards Max. Could have been just a gust of wind, maybe the air conditioning. And Colin's knocking at the door.
After the thing with Tony, she doesn't take it that it's just chance or wind. She's like, enter. Max, you better watch your mouth. She points to the letter opener.
Yeah.
That just moved and pointed in your direction.
Yeah, that's bad. So yeah, I don't want him mad at me.
Well,
Sorry it
if
took so
I'm-
long, but here we go. And also I've got the latest batch from Miss Rossi. She dropped this off and said that you might want to try this particularly. The same wheeled, slightly squeaky cart that he rolls through most samples on. There's the bottle of the regularly brewed decoction, and then there's a newer bottle. It's darker and there's a hint of green beneath it, almost like it's a double layered bottle with green and then brown on the outside to keep the beer from changing to light and what have you. The label,
I have a glass.
I thought you might ask, and he has a red wine glass on the cart with the other beer mugs and steins, and he hands it to you. And
Thank you.
use the church key to open the bottles as you all wish. There'll be anything else. I'd rather do the floors.
I will walk you out. And she looks at the rest of them like, get it together. And walks them to the door, stepping just on the other side of it and shutting it behind her so that she can talk to him. I am so sorry that all of this is happening this evening. We just had another visitor, but I don't think you would have been able to keep this visitor out if you really wanted to, because they seem to have some sort of strange time bending or spatial walking. It's weird, very weird, and very high magic. So it was a little disconcerting, mind you. Anywho, yes, that whole thing that happened this evening was apparently a long time coming. People have been working at creating that perfect storm of bullshit that happened this evening. But hopefully now that it's happened, it won't happen again anytime soon. But I do feel like maybe we should tighten the rules around here a little bit. And as much as I hate shutting down money, we prefer to have a specific type of clientele, and our specific type of clientele have not been arriving lately due to this bullshit.
I understand that, but what will you have us do? If it go too far one way or the other, then someone could complain. And last thing I believe that we want is for the local constabulary to take a notice of us. Especially with your condition.
No. No, actually, we do not. How about we make it a company policy of some sort, or open rules for certain evenings that past a certain amount of alcohol, there are no further drinks and we shut them down. Once they start getting in their cups and looking particularly morose, that is it, they are cut off.
Alright, that may work. It might have worked a few years ago. But unfortunately, if we start shutting people down because they look sad and they're still cognizantly aware, we could open ourselves to lawsuit. But as you wish,
Well, you know what I
would definitely do.
No. Something similar to that. I know you're fairly observant. Once you get to a point where you feel like somebody should no longer drink, cut them off. Tell the bartenders the same thing. We would do it for anybody else. If they started slurring or being sloppy or swinging at people or pinching people's behinds, we would cut them off and send them away. We just don't want to get quite to that level of drunk.
True enough. I'll further better train our staff in regards to being cognizant aware of what someone else is up to. But in the end, unfortunately, it is a good judgment call. And until you start speaking with them, none of them were having a problem. They may have been sad sacks, but they were quiet sad sacks.
No, they would not. The whole reason I went over there in the first place is because Cancer Man dumped his wife. And she started to cry. That was the whole reason I went over there in the first place. Otherwise, I wouldn't have cared, and I would have went to the back.
Hey, a little sadness. I'm not saying us not getting in trouble because of it. Yeah, they were having a private moment, and, well, shouldn't have been having it in a public, true. But what are you gonna do? By the time they got to the point where you wanted to step in, it was already gone. Of course, speaking of which,
but...
and he reaches into his top pocket where he keeps small things. These are for you. And he hands you 2 business cards and a napkin with a number jotted down. Several of the folks that you pissed off and may want to leave left these for you. One of them said that she's going to write a stern letter to your owner, or a letter in a bitch fit, I believe is what she called it.
Oh, drunk people. I am the owner. Oh, God. Stupid. Anyway. Yes, I get it. But the problem is, those 2 people were like yawning. You see somebody yawn, and now you want to yawn. And then the next person wants to yawn. The thing is, they started that shit, and then it rippled through the room like a wave. It wouldn't have just been those 2 people. I was trying to stop it. I swear I was trying to stop it.
I believe you.
Anyway, thank you again, and I will return to my friends and see if anything else has transpired since I have been outside the door. Hopefully not. And she tries to give him a smile, but it is a very lopsided, very I am so fucking tired smile, and goes back into the office.
And while Millie's outside, inside the back room, as the brew and the new batch is there on the rolling cart in front of you all, what are you all discussing, if anything at all?
About what time of night is it?
Oh, it's just past midnight. Not quite 3.
Because, she's got a bit of a drive time ahead of her if she's going home.
So she's, enough is enough. I'm out. I'm out like a light.
Right? Well, she has to go collect the photocopy as well, so...
Well, I guess it's time to break up the party then.
Oh, Max just kind of sighs. Well, Mel, maybe you can give me a lift because I got an Uber to get here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Wait. Before you do, important question. What kind of car you drive?
Well, let's see. If she was expecting to drive to the Elysium, she probably would have brought the nicer car, which is still a little on the old side. So that would be a... Where's my list? An '05 BMW.
Okay, that's acceptable. I can do that.
I mean, I drive a Jeep when I'm not driving this one, so... It's easy to...
Yeah, but there's
Jeep.
certain cars that I just can't be caught dead in. And he kind of looks slowly towards Charlie.
You know you're going to have to get over that, right?
Nope. I'll die on that hill. I promise I will.
You know what that truck's got going for it is it's old. It's made out of solid steel. If I was to hit any of your cars with that, I would just keep going right through and you'd be picking up Legos for the rest of the night.
That's true. There wouldn't be caught dead in it. Or whatever you consider us.
Okay, so what I'm getting is everybody's ready to leave. So what it sounded like you two, Amalia needs a copy of the book, and you want to give it to her, and you also need a ride home. So why doesn't Amalia take you home and get the book copy? And Charlie, if you would like to stay, it is entirely up to you, or return to where you feel safest, but we should probably make plans to get together within the next night or two so that we can do what this Calabalashi Tony person says and speak with JW before something happens to him and we don't get to find out what knowledge he might impart.
Well, I mean, this is nicer than anywhere I'm going to go. And I am just a baby.
Mi casa es su casa.
As you all break down and purposely go out of your way to not do the Midwestern goodbye where it's a bunch of, well, I guess I gotta be going. And 3 hours later, you find yourself talking in the doorway with plates to go wrapped in aluminum foil, sometimes with a gallon-sized Ziploc wrapped over that aluminum foil covered plate because you have two stacked on top of each other. But and then you find another conversation to start up, and you guys, exchange hugs or dabs or tell your mom I said, and next thing you know, you're by the car, your arm hanging out, and you guys are still saying goodbye. But then, oh yeah, did I show you? And then you back out of the car with the car still running, the door open, and you in the garage looking at what they meant to show you at the beginning of your gathering. Until several hours later, the lights are coming on the street lamps, and the traffic's going to be extra slow because now you should have left yesterday, and you realize that it is now, in fact, a day later. So you go out of your way to not do the Midwestern goodbye. You go out of your way to quickly move along on your way. You have things to do, places to get to, and corridors to drop off. So as you all depart, night well over, knowing the city like the back of your hand, and not that back of the hand where you look and there's strange marks there that you didn't put there, but the back of the hand where you know where each freckle, bump, and extra hair actually aligns. The drive to Max's should be a relatively quick one. It shouldn't take long. There's not much traffic on the road as far as such things go. But it takes considerably longer than expected because at the midpoint would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and drive?
Oh, goody. Oh, that's as good as it's going to get.
Missing by 1, but there's no... Oh, you did roll a 1. And you missed by 1. Caught up in your conversation in your drive, getting to Max, it's only there at the last minute that you realize that, well, be careful who you put in your car. Be careful of what car you drive. Max, you see them only as they emerge from the parked cars on the sides, on the passenger side of the vehicle, and the other starts the car on the driver's side of the vehicle. The passenger rushes out, her hand reaching towards the car, and like every driver who doesn't think about it and doesn't want to ruin another being's life, Amalia swerves right into the oncoming maw of the vehicle that started itself, lights off, and you only recognize at the last minute that the driver of the car was Jean, and the passenger, the pedestrian who rushed toward the car, was Leslie. They were not invited to your last party. In fact, they haven't been invited to any of your gatherings in over half a year, because a taste of you, a taste of what the kiss offers, proved to be too much. And while you initially thought that they were vacuous individuals, you've realized that Jean is not only a fitness model, but a member of MPD. And Leslie, while also a fitness model and a hand model, is also a third Dan martial artist of Kyoshinikai Karate. And as the car smacks into your vehicle, Amalia, you realize it's going to be an extraordinarily long night getting Max home, because the driver of the car that struck you, that almost T-boned you, was wearing a crash helmet and gets out of her car with what looks like a stun baton. The pedestrian who was running out into the street, which caused you to swerve, comes out of her waist with what looks like 2 stun gloves, and they're moving towards your car, which is all but pinned. Max, you've never been prouder of the stalkers that you have managed to accumulate over the years. All of this to get your attention. You're sure that that device that you're not completely familiar with, but you know is a trained device for certain police departments around the world, it set them back a pretty penny. You're sure that the vehicle that they ruined was probably obtained with no small down payment in cash, so there wouldn't be any real trace of what they did with it. And all the effort to wait, they must have been following you without you recognizing or realizing, because they planned so well to be in the proper path of your travel from the roads. It's nice being loved. Nice being thought of. It's not nice them crashing vehicles and cars, but, you know, love costs like everything else in the world. And as Amalia and Max decide what they will be doing with the rest of their moments for this evening, and Charlie and Millie settle in, helping Colin put chairs on top of tables and scrub, mop the floor, and lock the door. I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
No,
All right.
Good night.